Hello folks, and welcome back to another Premier League predictions video. And this week we start off with an early kickoff between, let's see, where's the pen? There's the pen. Between Brom versus Arsenal. So, Arsenal are currently in 5th place, and as of right now, Arsene Wenger is still manager, much to the delight of all Arsenal fans. They are currently 5 points behind Liverpool, although they do have 2 games in hand, which if they win them both would take them up to 3rd. Their away form is not bad. 6 wins, 3 draws, 4 defeats. In those 13 games they've scored 29 goals. So it's not too bad away from home. Brom are currently in 8th. They're comfortably in the top half of the table, 7 points off 10th. Their home form is pretty good. It's what has them up so high in the table. They have 8 wins, 2 draws, 4 defeats. In those 14 games, they've scored 24. Conceded only 17. I say only. It's not that great. So, even though Arsenal need a win to catch up with the likes of Liverpool, City and Spurs, I think that West Brom's home form is just too good. So I think this will be a draw, and I'll go for a 1-1 scoreline. Okay, so next up, we have the 3 o'clock kickoffs. We have Crystal Palace versus Watford. Right, well, Crystal Palace are currently 1 place and 1 point outside the relegation zone. They've played 27 games, have 25 points. Their home form is pretty shocking. They've lost the most home games in the division. Out of 13 home games, they've lost 9, although not by a large margin. In 13 games, they've scored 14 and conceded only 20 at home. So they must be losing those games by, tight margins. Watford are currently in 13th place. Their away form isn't that great. They've got 3 wins, 3 draws, and 7 defeats. I suppose that's kind of okay for a mid-table team. Although in those 13 games, they've conceded 24 goals, so they do tend to concede 2 away from home. Palace don't even score 1 at home on average. Can Big Crooked Sam change things around for Palace? The mind's pondering, taking over. I don't think so. I think this will be another draw, and I'll go for a 2-2. Next up we have Everton versus Hull. And Everton are currently in 7th, just 2 points behind Manchester United and 3 points behind Arsenal, but both of those teams have played 2 games less. Everton have good home form, 9 wins, 4 draws, 1 defeat, plus 20 goal difference at home. So in those 14 games they've scored 30 goals, so they tend to score 2 plus a game. Hull, on the other hand, are currently 3rd bottom, their away form is shocking. 1 win, 2 draws, 11 defeats. They've only scored 7 goals away from home all season. Don't want to be too predictable here, but let's be predictable and say that it's going to be a home win, and I'll go for a 2-0 win for Everton. I think Marco Silva's golden patch has ended. Next up we have Stoke City versus Chelsea. I don't know why my handwriting is so shocking in these videos compared to how lovely it normally is. Stoke are currently in 9th. They've got a really bang average performance over the season. They're mid-table, 9 wins, 9 draws, 10 defeats. Although they do have a -8 goal difference. Their home form, it's pretty decent. 6 wins, 5 draws, 3 defeats. Although in those 14 games they've only scored 18 and conceded 15. So they tend to score about 1 concede an average goal a game at home. Chelsea's away form, well, Chelsea's top of the table as we know. They're 10 points clear. 9 wins, 3 draws, 2 defeats away from home. They had a good win in the cup during the week against Man United. I think this will be a tough game for them, but I think they'll win. And I think it'll be both teams scoring about 3-1 to Chelsea. So next up we have a battle at the bottom of the table. We have Sunderland versus Burnley. Sunderland are currently bottom of the table. They're starting to get left behind. They're currently 6 points behind, 6 points from safety, but with a massively negative goal difference. You could say 7 points from safety. Their home form is 3 wins, 3 draws, 8 defeats. In those 14 games, they've scored 14 goals at home and conceded 26. So they do tend to, get beat, or at least concede a lot. The only thing going for South Sunderland in this game is Burnley's away form. Although they were unlucky last week away to Liverpool. But as of now, Burnley's away form is no wins, 2 draws, 12 defeats. In those 14 games, they've conceded 30 goals. I think Sunderland's going to be able to pull off an important win, but in the end, I don't think it's going to be important enough. I think Sunderland's going down. So we'll go for a 2-0 home win to Sunderland. Okay, next up we have West Ham versus Leicester. So West Ham are currently in mid-table, 11th place. Their home form's okay, 5 wins, 3 draws, 6 defeats. And just plodding along mid-table. They're in no safety of no danger of relegation. They're in no danger of finishing top 6 either. You'd almost say with 10 games to go, West Ham's season's over. Is that too soon a thing to say? I mean, they're not going to get into Europe, they're not going to be in any danger, you'd think. Leicester have been better of late, obviously, since sacking Ranieri. They've been unbeaten. They haven't won an away game all season. They had a good win during the week there against Sevilla in the Champions League. And I think their confidence could be high. So considering West Ham's poor form, I think Leicester might get their first away win of the season. So I'm going to go for an away win I'd say 1-0 to Leicester. Next up we have another clash at the bottom of the table. We have Bournemouth versus, I've already forgotten, Bournemouth versus Swansea. Short-term memory loss is terrible. Okay, so Burnley have been really falling of late. They won their last game, which was important. They're currently 6 points off the relegation zone, but they've only won, I think, one game since the new year. Their home form is pretty good. 6 wins, 3 draws, 5 defeats. But they've only got a +1 goal difference at home. Swansea are currently 3 points and 2 places above the relegation zone, but they do have a game in hand over Hull, who are currently in the 18th position. Their away form is 3 wins, 1 draw and 10 defeats. They do tend to concede a lot of goals. In those 14 games they conceded 31. Bournemouth have scored 24 goals in their 14 games, so I'm going to give this to be a home win. I think Swansea's going to be doing good at home but bad away. I think they have there was a stat during the BBC website this week that no team who has conceded 60 goals at this stage has ever stayed up. So anyway, Bournemouth, Swansea, home win, and I'll go for a 2-1 home win. So that was the late game on Saturday. Next up we have the early game on Sunday, which has managerless Middlesbrough playing moaning manager Manchester United. So Man United had a good win. I wouldn't say a good win, an easy win during the week in the Europa League, and they're through now to the quarterfinals. Their away form's pretty good. It's surprising, just looking at their 7 wins, 3 draws, 2 defeats. In those 12 games, they've only scored 19, but they've only conceded 12. A win is needed to keep the pressure on Arsenal and Liverpool for the Champions League places. Middlesbrough is currently second bottom. In their 13 home games, they've only conceded 11. They've only scored 11, only conceded 14. So this could be another tight game. Is this another one of those games where you sack your manager and then suddenly all of a sudden you win a game? They're 3 points from safety. And unlike Sunderland and Hull City, they've got a pretty decent goal difference. If you look at the bottom of the table, Sunderland have -26, Middlesbrough -11, Hull -28, Crystal Palace -11, Swansea -25. So if it all gets tighter down there, those Swansea, Hull and Sunderland could rue those big negative goal differences. So I think Mourinho said after the match the other night that he thinks that Man United will get beat, but I don't think they will. But I'm going to go for a draw, and in fact I'm going to go for a 0-0, just to give them something else to garn about. Next up we have Tottenham versus Southampton. So Spurs are doing pretty well this season. Came close last year, but I think second's the best they can aim for this year. Spurs have an excellent home record. They have 12 wins, 2 draws. In 14 games they've scored 33. Only Liverpool, from what I see here, have scored more home goals. And Chelsea, sorry. Both Liverpool and Chelsea have scored 36. but they do have the best home defence in the division. In 14 games, they've only conceded 7. They're currently in 56 points along with Man City, and a point ahead of Liverpool, but Liverpool have played a game more. Southampton are currently in 10th. Their away form is kind of okay. It's, average, mid-table, fair. 4 wins, 3 draws, 7 defeats. In those 14 games, they've only scored 18 and only conceded 20. But I think Spurs' home form will be too much for them. Spurs scored 6 there against Millwall. I know they've lost Harry Kane, but I think Son's doing very well. So I'm going to go for a home win. And I'm going to say 3-0. I think Spurs' home form is just too good this season. And then finally, the late game. The late game on Sunday is Man City versus Liverpool. Man City crashed out of the Champions League this week. I'm sure Guardiola will be looking for a reaction. They haven't been great at home this season. In their 13 games at the Etihad Stadium, they've only won 7, 5 draws. Scoring plenty of goals, but obviously conceding them as well. Liverpool's away form. Liverpool are currently 1 point beneath them in the table, but haven't played a game more. So a win would be really important for Liverpool, but I can't see it happening. They've got 6 wins, 4 draws, 4 defeats. In those 14 games, they've scored 24 and conceded 22. Can't see there being a clean sheet in this game. I think I'll go for a draw, which will further hand the title to Chelsea, tighten things up in the race for Champions League. But I'll go for a draw and go for a 1-1. Can't see it being a clean sheet. And just from looking ahead here, next week we have the Merseyside Derby, so that'll be good. Oh, and Arsenal play Man City. Okay, folks, thanks for watching, and put any predictions you have down below. Cheerio, bye.